a frontline podcast that looks in detail at the Manipur conflict. This episode is titled, How Late is Late? The entirety of July and August were filled with rumors of the visit of the Prime Minister to Manipur. These rumors changed to the truth this month as it was finally announced that PM Modi will in fact be visiting Manipur. On this occasion, I thought maybe it would be even better if we have somebody from Manipur hosting an episode for us. And that's what we did. Teshangran Tontang, a research scholar from a hill district in Manipur, went around the districts that the PM visited, and she has put together a very interesting set of voices for us to understand what the real pulse of Manipur is. Over to Teshangran.
Hi, I am Teshang from Kangshin village in Manipur, and for this episode, I will be your host. The occasion has been termed as special by many, but it is a Prime Minister's first visit in many years to my state. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Manipur can be phrased as better late than never. There is a lot of anticipation on his visit to the state of Manipur after more than 2 years of the conflict, which led to the displacement of more than 60,000 people and the loss of 260 lives. The public hoped that he would address the issue of the conflict and bring about practical solutions for the IDPs. His visit was met with mixed reactions and responses from various CSOs, communities, and individuals, both from the hills and the valley. A day before the Prime Minister's arrival, I went around the valley and the hill districts interacting with people about what they think about this visit. This was also my first visit to Churachandpur, that is Lamka, after the civil war started in 2023. In the journey to Lamka, there was tight security, especially in the Lamka-Nambol border, and more than 3 checkpoints. After every ID check, we were asked if we were Naga, and thankfully Grishma had assured me that my travel would be safe since I belonged to the Naga community. And indeed it was. There are many people that I spoke to in Lamka, and I would like to first share the interview with an internally displaced person from the Kuki community. Them Tontang is a writer and an entrepreneur, and here is what she had to say.
So for quite a few days now, we have seen so many grand preparations, security measures, road repairs, all going on full swing for the Prime Minister's visit. And, the sincere hope is that it will be worth the anticipation and the hype. Because honestly speaking, so much has happened, since May 3rd, 2023. And the Prime Minister has not been there for us. And, as you know, more than 60,000 people have been displaced all over the state, and then more than 230 have lost their lives, and women have been assaulted, tortured. Even infants and the elderly have not been spared. So, a war has come, a war has gone, but the Prime Minister has not appeared. So, the thing is, right now, all over the media, everywhere, not just here, the big question is why now? And, in social media and everywhere, some people have said it's too late. Some are saying, oh, it's because of political motivations, because the Assam polls are coming up next year and this. And some are saying, better late than never. But among all these difference of opinions, one thing that I have seen is that the Kuki people, they are willing to welcome the Prime Minister with open arms, with the hope that he will come bearing good news this time. And I mean, after all, he is the Prime Minister of India. He is visiting a part of India, and that's his duty, even though he's quite late now. So so he's coming, and if he has decided to come now after all these years,
More than 2 years.
Yes, more than 2 years, we can't say that this is a spur of the moment thing, right? It must have been something that has come out of so much of consideration and talks and deliberations, and that is why I think the expectation from the people is very, very high. So if he comes this time and gives some standard bhashan and just decides to leave us without addressing our desperate need for the separate administration, and then he just goes back saying some generic things, then the people are going to be very, very disappointed this time, because after waiting so long, and then you give us a little hope, and then you come, you do nothing, and then you just go back. ऐसा भी नहीं होना चाहिए, right? It's I can only pray for the Prime Minister because all eyes and ears are on him, and the Kuki-Zo people expect him to deliver, late as it may be.
As you have mentioned, that the Kuki-Zo community are welcoming him, and there is a lot of expectation on him as well, right? Especially as you have mentioned, the separate administration. So does this mean that his visit to Lamka is a positive response from the central government or the separate administration, or do you think he's here to just appease the people of the Kuki-Zo community?
You know what? Whether it is a positive response or not, that is what we are waiting for, right? He is coming to give the response. So we are just looking at him with the hope that, okay, he has ignored us for a long time. So if he is coming now, he is bound to bring something positive for us. Otherwise, it would just be inhumane to come at this time and then give some negative response and then go back. That's just inhumane, So now the positive response is what we are waiting for.
Okay. So there are mixed feelings and mixed reactions about his visit, because people have been expecting him for so long, and when the expectation has died down, he finally decides to visit. Some of them are even protesting, right? So do you think there is also a valid reason for them protesting, or is it because they are angry that their demands have not been met?
Well, the Corcom, they are protesting. I'm sure they have their own reasons to protest. I mean, people don't protest for nothing, right? So that is their reason, that is their thing. But from the Kuki-Zo community, there has not been any protest.
Okay.
They have just been looking at him as a beacon of hope, because that's the only thing we can expect at this moment. So from the Kuki-Zo side, there is no protest, there is no resistance. We are just waiting for him to come and deliver something, something of substance for us.
So why visit Lamka and not the other areas?
You know what, Lamka, so he's coming here, right? I think this, I have never heard any Kuki-Zo person saying why is he visiting Lamka and not any other place. Nobody has had any problem with it. I think it's also because of what our leaders has given us, and that picture of a separate administration, because this idea of this separate administration, this has become necessary only after the war. So it has taken us a long time to come to an idea of what it should actually look like. So now the one that we are being presented by our leaders, and what most people are also agreeing, is that we want a separate administration which resembles the Union Territory of Pondicherry. Puducherry. And so just like them, since even for Puducherry, they have different parts of their territory in different parts of the country, in different states. So just like that, our areas are also a bit separated. But then if we can incorporate that kind of a union territory, which has been seen with Puducherry, then we don't have a problem with that. It can be a union territory like them, where the territories have one umbrella, under one umbrella of a union territory for us, with one legislative assembly for all of us, then we don't have a problem. So whether he goes to Lamka or whether he goes to Kangpokpi, wherever, it's the same for us, because it's the same administration and it's the same leadership and the same people. So there's no problem there.
So there are still people who are still displaced, right? What are your hopes for them from the Prime Minister?
This time I think, of course, if he comes, he will mention things about relief again. Whether we get it or not is something different, but he will mention something about relief. It has always been mentioned. So let's see what he says.
Mamte, a school teacher from Lamka, also shared her thoughts on the Prime Minister's visit as well as the projects that are to be inaugurated. Here is my interview with her, where she addresses multiple issues including social and economic challenges faced by the tribes among the Kuki zone.
The PM's visit, although it came, I don't know, it came as a surprise or what exactly feeling, I don't know, I am unable to describe. Like I said, we have become, I don't know, we have kind of grown complacent over the indifference of the central government towards us, towards the people of Churachandpur and the people who have been largely affected by the conflict. That means I'm meaning the IDPs. So yes, I don't know, I think we're kind of like feeling numb at this point to express what exactly is it that we feel right now also. But then in a way, I'm glad that the PM chose to meet the IDPs, the community which is mostly affected by the conflict. It is, I believe that this is an acknowledgement of the fact that he is aware of the community which is most affected, and choosing to stop Churachandpur first as his first stop, and choosing to meet the internally displaced persons first. So I'm glad in a way, because this is an acknowledgement, like I said. But I believe that this is only a symbolic gesture, first of all, because we have not seen anything concrete for the rehabilitation, security, and any kind of concrete plans being taken for the IDPs. Because many of them are still trying to survive in community halls in various colonies, with the community, the local community coming together for their food and other basic needs, food, shelter, and schooling and other things.
So there are also a lot of projects that he's here to lay the foundation or inaugurate.
Yes.
Right? So do you think these projects will directly impact the IDPs and the communities that have been affected by the war?
I did go through the project somewhat, some 7,000 crore project, is it? Yeah, 7,300 crore project, which he'll be inaugurating. I've gone through the project, and honestly, I don't know, I'm a bit
Apprehensive.
yeah, I'm not just a bit, I'm actually very apprehensive, because first of all, you see this huge project of urban road development, over 3,000 something. I don't think which is what we need right now, regardless of the fact that our roads are in very deplorable condition. But we are living in a post-conflict era, just some 800 days. So I think this is not what needs to be addressed. I would rather have the needs of the IDPs being addressed, like dedicated rehabilitation funds, and then targeted like health, not just health, physical health, but mental health services, especially for those who have been severely impacted by the this conflict. Security concerns are also there for them. Yeah, so, and I would rather have like I don't know, I've gone through the inaugurations, which is at large good for like health and like sports facilities and other things, but I don't see anything for the particularly being carved out for the IDPs, which I think should be addressed, needs immediate attention rather than other development inaugurations and projects that we need right now.
So it is also mentioned, according to the press release, that he will be meeting the IDPs, right? Do you hope that he will address and bring about actual solution to the IDPs as well during the meeting, the interaction, even if it's not mentioned in the press release?
That is what I said at the beginning. Of course, it's a symbolic gesture of his acknowledgement of the suffering of the IDP. But then all this symbolic acknowledgement, development promises, they are not a substitute for the practical thing, for the practical in the sense, they are not substitute for their immediate resettlement, for their security, for the reconciliation between the communities that are involved. Peace is something that will not immediately happen overnight, but then, of course, even the central government has not taken concrete steps towards peace and reconciliation between the communities that have been affected. So I believe at this point it is only just a symbolic gesture, but something like concrete solutions like resettlement, reconciliation, that is something I look forward to, rather than just meeting and chit-chats and empty promises.
So you mentioned about peace and reconciliation, right? So what are the changes that you have seen throughout this 2.5 years, and what changes would you hope to bring after the visit of the Prime Minister to Manipur?
The changes in the sense in social, economic, or like all in all?
So we can focus on the social and the economic as well.
Socially, well, of course, since the conflict has separated both the communities, like I saw, before we used to live together peacefully with the Métis as well in one community. So that social change is now has definitely taken place. We're just now segregated into the Métis and the tribal. So Churachandpur is now definitely concentrated within just the tribals, except for some other mainlands who are working here, who are part of the community as well. Economically, I think we are struggling a lot. But I think I see some resilience in the people, especially among even the IDPs as well, who are trying to meet ends meet by doing menial tasks, labors, and other things. And they are really hustling hard. That I have seen throughout the community as well. But definitely we are struggling. Development-wise, I think we're definitely going backwards in the sense that if you see our basic infrastructure such as our roads, number one, you can visibly see the roads. Transportation and communication has become difficult, and especially medical wise also we're suffering a lot because we don't have access to the main infrastructure, which is concentrated like super specialty hospital, which is concentrated in Imphal areas only. We don't have access to that anymore, so we have to take the long route through traveling 12 to 15 hours to Aizawl and then to Guwahati and other cities like Delhi, where we can avail such super specialty treatment. That is also one very, very difficult task that our town has had to bear post-conflict. And also other conflict-related crimes like minor crimes like people taking in more into drugs and other dependency because of mainly because it also really impacted the mental health of not just the people who have not just the IDPs, but then it has, I don't know, this is not something acknowledged very openly, but I think I've seen an increase in the rise of petty crimes also. Petty crimes because of increasing drug dependency, alcohol dependency also. Because everyone is somehow trying to make their ends meet, and then it doesn't matter anymore like whether they're just doing it the right way by selling, legitimate, going into legitimate business, big or small, or doing anything, just about anything to put food on their table, which may involve something which is not very legal.
And I think these are in fact very serious concerns.
Very serious concerns, because this impact is not just for a couple of years. This is the war that we might need to fight as a society in the future as well, because this kind of moral degradation, which has seeped into our very own families. I believe that this is something we have to fight in the future. Every family has to fight.
On the 13th of September, the Prime Minister made it to Manipur in spite of people saying the weather conditions might be an issue as it was pouring down buckets. More importantly, the Prime Minister in his public address did not delve on the issues of the internally displaced people and the conflict in the state, although he met briefly with the internally displaced people in both Lamka and Imphal. Much of his speech revolved on the projects, the budgets, and infrastructure development which would be undertaken under his government. One person from Imphal shared his dissatisfaction regarding the Prime Minister and his delayed visit. He said, Prime Minister seems to be trying to appease the people with money by coming to announce an inaugurate project worth crores after being silent about the Manipur war and conflict for so long. Here is what he had to say about Prime Minister Modi.
I am not happy about his visit. It is too delayed. It is as if he does not give a damn about us. He has not spoken a word on our issue for more than 2 years. Suddenly, he decides to visit us by inaugurating some projects and trying to appease us with money. He could have visited when the conflict had just started. That could have prevented the communal riots from affecting the state and stopped the progression of the war up to a certain degree. I believe neither the Kuki nor the Meitei people won the war.
In another interaction with a young research scholar, she shared her thoughts on the Prime Minister's visit to and her future hope and aspirations for the next government. Please listen to what she has to say to better understand what young people in Manipur are feeling. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi is finally visiting Manipur
Yes.
after 2.5 years, right? So, what are your thoughts when you heard about him visiting Manipur?
I was actually very surprised. Like the visit came as very unexpected to me because when the entire conflict was going on, like when it was very urgent, there was no news of such visit. And now suddenly, when things are relatively peaceful, like he seems to be finally paying a visit to Manipur here. So for me personally, I feel like it's not about the conflict. Like personally, I feel like it's a more of a PR stunt. Like regarding all of the other things that are happening. For example, the entire debacle on the vote chori and then the E20 issue. I think it's more of a diversion. Like a tactic for that only, like it's not much related to the conflict actually, as per my opinion.
Okay. Do you think, so you have said it's more of a PR stunt, right? But, out of this visit, do you think there is any sort of expectation, a positive change that could have brought about after or, during this visit?
Expectation as in political expectation. When it comes to political expectation, I don't have much political expectation, like I don't think much is going to change, but maybe we might expect, or at least I'm hoping that we would see some sort of positive change from the people, in the sense that I heard that so many BJP Mandal members are resigning in Phungyar, right? And then I've also seen videos of these people protesting against the PM's visit in Churachandpur. So I feel like the people are realizing that, his visit has nothing to do with our conflict, and like he did not come when we needed him. And the only positive outcome that I am expecting from his visit is that he can finally understand the pulse of the people. That's it, from political actors, I don't expect much, but I'm expecting some sort of, or at least I'm hoping, rather than expecting, I'm hoping for some sort of this spontaneous mass movement so that the PM can finally hear the will of the people. Yeah.
Okay, so there has been a fair psychosis still going on
Yes,
about the
yes.
movement of people from hill to valley, valley to hill.
Yes.
Right. Do you think this will be reduced starkly after his visit, or do you think this will continue to go on?
I feel like the visit alone won't be changing any of the status quo. So, like, there would still be this apprehension, there would still be this fear and this trauma, and it would take a long time for normalcy to resume. And before that, there will always be like, even I personally, I haven't gone out of the Imphal Valley in such a long time, 2 years. Otherwise, I used to go to Churachandpur every month because like my dad was posted there for a long time. So we always used to visit friends, and then I would always go to Senapati. But then now, I fear that, I mean, like, again, rather than fearing, also there are practical issues as well. But then I feel like sadly this sort of restriction will still be there. I mean, just from the visit alone, I feel like nothing is going to change.
What about in the university space? A lot of things has changed as well, right?
Yes, yes.
So do you think things have become normal now, or people are okay with not being normal?
Actually, I think that we won't be normal. Like we like this normalcy. So we do have some sort of a thing that's going on that resembles normalcy, or rather, it's the new normal. But then we cannot go back to
How
the
it used to
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. That's the saddest part. I mean, I feel like, of course, time heals everything. So one day we would be okay again, but then that day is not, like it won't be in this year or next year like that, as per my expectation.
So it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as a final question, right? What would you, if you had a chance to meet Modi, or if in case he gets to hear this interview, right? Is there anything you would like to question him, or address him?
The thing that I would like to question is like he, as far as I know, when the conflict was at its peak, and then like for the past 2.5 years, he hasn't spoken about it. Maybe once that when it came to that parade, he spoke about it in the parliament, and in a very half-hearted manner as well, and then he dropped the issue, so what made him stay silent for all those long years? And I also want to ask him a question, he came here after 2.5 years, so what is he hoping to achieve now that some sort of status quo is already there? So what is he hoping to achieve by coming here? And I also want to hear his opinion on why he stayed silent for so long. I would really want to understand what was going on in his mind in the past 2 years, as well as what is going on in his mind when he suddenly decided to visit Imphal. That's it. Sorry, not Imphal, Manipur. Yeah.
Okay. Although I said final question regarding the president's rule, right? Has there been any positive change?
I cannot say positive or negative, but there has been change. Yes, and I feel like there's some sort of this fear and apprehension, at least for me, has been reduced a lot since the president's rule, and we haven't heard about all of these shootings and encounters. I feel like the president's rule was quite helpful in bringing some sort of normalcy, and I am not satisfied with this level of normalcy, of course, but I feel like that was better than how it was for the previous 2 years when we had the will of the people, our representatives running the government. Yeah.
So, as we have seen in the course of history, Manipur government has always been decided on who rules at the center.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Right. So, if this happens again, do you think there would be a change this time?
I am really hoping and praying that there would be a change, because if you asked me this question, maybe before the Lok Sabha elections, then I would have said that like Manipur, I don't expect any change from Manipur. But then in the Lok Sabha elections, I saw with my own two eyes, the change that people can bring about. I saw that sort of political consciousness among the masses, educated as well as uneducated. Everybody, they were standing up for their rights, and both in the hills and the valley. Like that was unprecedented. So I am hoping and I'm praying that my people would repeat that same performance, and then we would finally be able to show the central government our strength and our will.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi was scheduled to visit Lamka at around 11:30 a.m. and Imphal at 2 p.m. The initial plan was to travel by helicopter from Mizoram to Manipur, but Mother Nature had other plans and welcomed him with incessant rain. Quite symbolic, one could say. Our Prime Minister landed at Imphal Airport and travelled to Lamka en route, which he made sure he mentioned in his speech while addressing the crowd in Lamka. Luckily, the roads had been repaired just a few days before his visit and for his visit. A few people even joked about this, wishing that the Prime Minister should visit the state regularly so that the roads would be in usable condition. Looking at the projects that were listed in the press statement by the Office of the Chief Secretary, Government of Manipur, most people I spoke to brought up the disparity in the distribution of funds and the number of projects in the hills and the valley. Evidently, more projects are given to the valley areas and lesser to the hill districts. Out of the 17 projects that were inaugurated, only about 5 are in the hill districts. As much as the infrastructures are necessary for the development of the state, Prime Minister Modi's concerns seem to be far detached from the reality and the expectations of the public. The hope and anticipation went downhill when he addressed the public in Hindi, a language which most people in Manipur do not understand. We, the people of Manipur, can only hope for the best to come from the Prime Minister's visit to the state. Now you might ask me, what about the voices of the Nagas? The Nagas extend our solidarity to those affected communities by the conflict in Manipur. It must, however, be mentioned that Nagas residing in the buffer regions have also been directly affected by the conflict, especially Liangmai villages in Kangpokpi in West Sadar Hills and Lemokong area. Maram and a few Tangkul villages are also directly affected by the conflict. My own village, Kangshim, also saw and witnessed the evils of the conflict as it is located in the buffer area adjoining Thoubal, Kakching and Tengnopal districts. The voices of minorities in buffer regions have been muffled and sidelined due to the ethnocentrism on both ends of the two warring communities, since they are bigger communities and our voices get drowned. Even within the Naga politics, the sufferings and problems of the smaller communities in the buffer zones seem too small and inconvenient for the larger Naga CSOs to take up. Such nuances of the social, political issues of the Nagas have no space as we do not have access to protest and are too complex to be understood by the central as well as the state government. The Nagas have a sizable population in Myanmar, particularly in the Sagaing region adjoining Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland and Manipur. There have been rallies in Manipur and Nagaland to oppose the centre's move to fence the 1,643-kilometer India-Myanmar border, and memorandums have been submitted to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi to restore free movement regime. An article in the Hindu mentions that the talk in regard to the issues by the Naga delegation and the centre in New Delhi in August 26 were inconclusive. Such patterns of delayed tactics is an old game of the central government when dealing with the demands of the Naga bodies. The apparent indifference to the demands of the Naga people by the central government has led to the enforcement of the economic blockade by the United Naga Council on 8 September 2025. The economic blockade was lifted temporarily on 11 September at the plea of the Chief Secretary of Manipur in response to the order from the centre, which will be resumed if the demands are not met. The Prime Minister, in his public address in Manipur, did not mention a word in regard to this matter, and his visit was limited to only Lamka and Imphal. There is a general dissatisfaction among the Nagas as the demands and voices of our people have been sidelined once again by the central government. This podcast is a hope that our voices will be heard.